my door. See how many people could turn up in here tonight. Nick, what's good, man? I'm chilling at work, as you see, and just bored as all can be. I'm looking at this transfer portal go absolutely insane. I figure, with us having to wait for a bowl game, we got to figure out what we're going to talk about in the meantime. So why not talk about this transfer portal stuff? You feel me? So what y'all doing on y'all? I'm assuming some of y'all on lunch. What's going on Norville Central? Like I said, I'm at work chilling. I'm excited too. I'm looking at these names and I'm thinking like, who are some of the cats we can go after? Talk about the World Cup. Hey, don't we play Iran today? Right? I think we play Iran, Right, D. Thompson? I think we do. I haven't been following the World Cup that close. I am aware of some of the matchups, though. Miami portal players were not coached well. I stand on that. Anyway, what up, POLK? Ready for these portal players to become known. Okay, so we play them in at that 1300 Eastern time, so they might be playing already. So I saw one projection of Texas A&M, not Texas A&M. They didn't make a bowl game. Texas Tech. I did see one of those, which I would take that matchup. I kind of think that's an easy win for us. I would still like to get Texas if we could, but I did see one projection at the Cheez-It Bowl, Texas Tech. What y'all think about that one? Could be another 0-0 barn burner. Yeah. That's what the England game was, right? 0-0. Yeah, I saw one projection for Texas Tech though. Man, but the portal's going absolutely crazy right now. Holiday Bowl versus Oregon. Where's the Holiday Bowl held at? Is that on the West Coast? Not sure I like that match. I don't mind the matchup per se. I'm not sure I want to travel to the West Coast though. Yeah, I saw some of them talking on Twitter. Let them talk, bro. That JUCO tight end looking good. I think one of the big portal guys that have hit recently, he hit last night. Jordan Travis put something on his Instagram, reaching out. So I don't know if they're doing some backdoor recruiting, but the big 6'5" receiver out of Oregon, who I believe FSU was even targeting at one point in the 2021 cycle, he's out of Maryland. He transfers from Oregon. He's hit the portal, and I think FSU has some serious interest there. I don't mind I don't mind if they're pursuing that. For really one main reason, I think FSU still wants to add another receiver. Yeah, Donta Thornton is who I'm talking about. I think FSU still wants to add another receiver out of the high school ranks. But if you can get a major guy like him out of the portal, then maybe you don't have to spend the block on a high school receiver, and you can get a guy who's already been in the college system, as we always talk about with these portal guys. as we always talk about with these portal guys, right? You're getting a guy who's been in a college system, been in a college weight room. Uh, Whereas, even with the Hakeem, it still remains to be seen how he adjusts to the college game. All world, all talented, don't get me wrong, but it could take Hakeem a minute, right? It's not unheard of for these highly touted receivers out of high school. So it's not unheard of for them guys just to take some time and have to develop. But you target a guy to the portal like a Johnny Wilson, right? You're expecting him to come in and be an instant impact. So I would be all for Dante Thornton. Uh, Originally, I didn't think we needed to waste anything in the portal, but if you can get difference makers at positions, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, right? I don't think they need to take a flyer on any portal wide receivers. But you can get a Dante Thornton, a kid who was, I think he was like a top 50 kid coming out of high school at receiver. Again, and he's a big body. He's a 6'5" guy. 6'5". So you see what success we had with a Johnny Wilson, bringing another big body guy. And that also goes hand in hand with FSU's transfer portal. If there's one position, there's a couple positions where I think you could see some of our own players at the portal. I think wide receiver is one of those positions just because you added so much depth last year. I don't expect any of the guys you added to leave. I don't think Johnny goes pro. You're getting Winston right back. He's already said he's coming back. You're adding at least 3 receivers from the high school ranks. Could a Portier, who I like Portier, they got him more involved this year. Portier was solid. Could a Portier though could he look at the situation and go, maybe I can go somewhere else and be the feature guy? A Darian Williamson, who had some flashes this year himself, but he got injured, and unfortunately, you can lose your spot due to injury. You know, um, those are 2 potential guys out of our receiver room. Hell, maybe hold on. Ooh, felt that sneeze coming. Um, Maybe even, you know, guys that we don't want to lose. You know, maybe Ja'Kai Douglas. Again, disclaimer: I'm not saying any of these guys transfer. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals, right? Maybe a Ja'Kai Douglas looks at the situation and goes, Micah Pittman's still here. Who am I splitting time with? So I do think you might get a guy or two out of the receiver room. I think we can't be naive enough to think that FSU is not going to have some portal guys hit. We're going to have portal guys hit. And we might get a guy or two that we don't want to lose to hit because, it's just the way it is. Guys, even guys that we want, like a Ja'Kai or a Malik. I'll even throw Malik in there, you know. And I'm just strictly speaking of receiver room, but maybe those guys just decide they want to go somewhere and they want to be the feature receiver. FSU's bringing in a lot of guys. We'll wait and see what happens with Sam. Yeah, apparently they have $5 million just to spend on portal players. Good luck to that. If Benson comes back, you might. That's true. So that's true. If we want to talk about other rooms that might see a player or two leave, I do agree. The running back room, you could see a player leave. 2 players that I think would potentially leave if Benson was to come back is I'll start with C.J. Kimmel first because I know he's a walk-on. Walk-ons can transfer as well, and he might look at himself as a player who, who is C.J. Campbell really gonna jump in that room? Probably nobody. And then the other guy, I think, a guy that I don't think anybody wants to see leave, but could happen, and that's LT. We have a 3-headed monster, but LT could maybe want to be used more as a every down back, where he's pretty much a 3rd down back for us. We use him in the passing game and in other ways. He does get his carries, but we use him in other ways. You know, we might have other guys to fill that role that LT fills, and LT could decide, you know, it was good, um, but maybe I want to go try to be the feature guy. So I think what we're talking about right now is um, a good thing. You know, anytime guys hit the portal, sometimes. So there's two different situations why guys hit the portal. You're seeing one in Texas A&M, guys are hitting the portal because that is a dysfunctional program, right? So guys are getting up out of there. Man, A&M's they've had like I think I lost count, but another guy just hit the portal today. Excuse me, at A&M. Another guy just hit the portal. They had a guy yesterday. I think A&M's like up to 5 or 6 players already, and the portal isn't it hasn't even official. It doesn't open officially till Monday, and A&M's got like 5 guys already in the portal. But then you also have the programs that have players hit the portal because you're just getting recruited over, or you just aren't getting opportunities. And I think FSU's on the latter part of the portal situation right now, where I think um, no, do we ever want to see talented guys leave? No, but but you can understand why. I personally would understand why LT would hit the portal. Not saying I want him to do it because I don't, and I love the way we use him. I think he can be extremely effective for us. But I would understand if Toa Philly looked at the situation and said, I like it here, but I think I can go somewhere and be an every down back. And I think FSU's on the latter part of that where we're no longer cutting fat. You know what I mean? If you guys understand what I'm saying, like we're no longer cutting dead weight. Instead, guys are leaving just to get other opportunities because we're bringing in guys that are just as good. You feel me? So I would caution Florida State fans: do not panic if we see players hit the portal who we've grown accustomed to. Don't panic because there's a bunch of talent out there. There's a bunch of talent out there. Let me get to some of the comments though. What's up, Sandra? How you doing? Um, I think JT comes back again. If you didn't know, he's like on his Instagram. Looks like he's actively recruiting that wide receiver out of Oregon we were just talking about. I don't think you do that if you plan on leaving, because Holmes is going to be a candidate to jump in that rotation for sure. For sure. What's going on, Matthew? When you tell people your budget, everyone is going to try and get that entire budget. Negotiates 101. Then again, we're talking about Miami. They say they're roommates, and they alluded to that in the post game interview, the post game presser after Florida. Benson pretty much alluded to, hey, me and Verse about to sit down and have some talks. So I still think Verse can come back because I still think he can improve his game. And between the two, I think Benson would be smarter to go pro. I've said this all along, just because he's a running back. Oh yeah, we knew this was going to come from A&M. We definitely knew A&M was about to have a mass exodus. But man, the portal's been jumping, and it's fun to watch. And it's also been fun to see that FSU hasn't had any players leave, but again, do it. I would definitely expect a couple guys here eventually. Only thing about moving Toa to receiver is that moving. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think moving Toa Philly to receiver really helps. Like you said, the receiver room's crowded. Running back room's crowded. Receiver room crowded. Again, not saying I want Toa Philly to leave. Not saying he's gonna leave. I'm just saying you could understand if he decided to leave. You feel me? Um, a guy like Joshua Burrell, like if we, and I kind of want to go more in depth with this stuff on Wednesday when we do our typical show. But if you look at potential portal guys from Florida State, a guy like Joshua Burrell, I mean, he's got to be a prime candidate. Again, he's a player who I absolutely love coming out of high school, but he's lost in the sauce. You know, he's lost in the sauce. They so much so, receiver room's crowded, so they moved him to running back. He never got any snaps at running back. I'm not sure if he's even still in the running back room. I'm hearing talks of maybe you move him to like a H back, maybe a Wyatt Rector role type tight end, H back, flex guy. But I'm not sure where Burrell fits in anymore. And it could be in Burrell's interest. Again, I keep having to put this disclaimer out because people will get what I say misconstrued. I'm not saying I want Burrell to hit, but you could understand if Burrell's like, thanks Florida State for taking a chance on me, but I just don't fit in anywhere. You know what I mean? So Burrell's a got to be a top candidate. No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But what position is he at? That would be my kind of rebuttal is what position is Burrell going to play, Timmy? Are you going to put him in a wide receiver room? Okay. Are you going to put a running back room? Okay. Like those rooms are loaded. Your best bet might be tight end, but they got some young guys that they're excited about, and the Brian Courtneys and the and Powers and Marcus and Douglas, and those guys are like true tight end bodies. But remember, Burrell's like a 6'2", 220 some odd pound receiver, running back, tight end, whatever he is. Like I don't even know his position. So you could understand why Burrell would leave. Again, you could understand why Philly might look elsewhere, or C.J. Campbell. Obviously, I think we all are on the same page. When you go to the other side of the ball, I would be shocked if Demore Tate was still on this roster. No knock against Demore Tate, but what has he been at Florida State for 3 years and has not seen the? I mean, have we ever seen Demore Tate even on the field? Right? We've never even seen Demore Tate on the field. That move wouldn't shock me in the least. You feel me? He's talking about Donta Thornton, a dangback. He's talking about Donta Thornton. But, that move wouldn't shock me in the least to see Demore Tate. Like, these are just some of the names that I think we can kind of expect. Even a Travis Jay's up in the air. You feel me? I know he black shirted this entire year. So next year, does he get back into that DB rotation? You feel me? I don't know. I don't know what they do with a Travis Jay, a Demore Tate. Who am I forgetting? Hell, maybe one of those defensive ends, a Chambry Jackson. Where's he been at? That D tackle, bro. If you haven't seen that picture that Tafasi posted on his Twitter today, holy cow! Talk about a man child. The guy's the size of a refrigerator, man, and it ain't bad weight. You talking about the size of a refrigerator, streamlined, cut up, muscle. If you haven't seen it, go check it out if you're on Twitter. Tafasi looks like a monster. He's a man ready. He's a 18-year-old that looks like he's 30, bro. Absolutely ridiculous. A Chambry Jackson could be out. I mean, you go to the defensive ends. You're bringing in Lamont Green. You're bringing in a Keldrick Faulk. You'll probably add one in the portal if Verse comes back. Whether or not Verse comes back or not, you're probably still going to add a portal guy at that DN room. Why wouldn't you? You've had so much success the past couple of years, so why wouldn't you target one of the top DNs in the portal? George Wilson, he's been a project. We always knew he was a project, but they could be at the point now where they're moving past the project guys. And George Wilson could be recruited over. Maybe a Byron Turner could get recruited over. So these are just some of the potential guys. What's going on, Vontae B, state champs in the building. But this is just some of the potential guys that I don't think we should be surprised if it hits the portal, and we shouldn't. Let's not do the whole they're quitting, they don't want to compete thing. It's a new day and age, bro. These guys are hitting the portal for sometimes better opportunities. And I didn't even mention that the emergence of Patrick Payton, D-Mac. I mean, believe it or not, where does D-Mac fit in that defensive end rotation? I think he's a solid defensive end rotation guy, but there's no way Patrick Payton's not starting next year. Verse comes back. There's your two bookends. How good can Keldrick Faulk be? If you add a portal guy, guess what? That portal guy's coming in to take reps day one. Could D-Mac see the writing on the wall and understand that he's kind of been recruited over and maybe go somewhere else? So there's guys that I think, you know, will there be a shocker? I wouldn't rule it out. I guess we would have to define shocker. At this point, we kind of understand that Sam McCall is not a shocker if he hits, but somebody like a Sam McCall who has a ton of talent, who's in a good position, could they hit the? That's possible as well. These backdoor channels are open. If you're not recruiting, it's crazy. It's a crazy time. You got to recruit the current guys you have on top of recruiting guys you don't have. Is a guy like again, I'm just throwing out hypothetical names, guys. So don't come to me and be like, "There's no way this guy's gonna hit the portal. You're stupid." I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. But is there a chance that a team gets in Azariah Thomas's ear and goes, "Hey, man, we like what you did as a freshman. I got a 500K bag for you." Like, is it possible? It's absolutely possible. This is the new nature of college ball. I don't know if there's any move that would shock me as far as transfer goes. Only thing that would shock me is like J Trav. Somebody like that would shock me. But some of these other guys, I don't know if I'd be shocked. I don't want to see it happen. Oh, you guys can't hear me? Hello? Hold on. How long y'all been going since y'all heard me? Hello? It says my phone. Oh, it switched. Hold on. Nope. Okay. You guys should hear me now. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm better. Okay. Better. Better. So I don't know how much y'all heard because I was just going I was just going on. But that's basically what I was getting at is like it's a new day and age. Ryan says, can Mike sell these players on waiting your turn and rebuilding depth? I think some of those guys will be able to be sold. But you can't bank on everyone being sold, right? I think that's the thing, is you can't bank on everybody. Even on winning teams, you're going to have disgruntles that just want to go elsewhere. I know there's a Alabama offensive lineman that hit the portal. I'm pretty sure FSU will definitely spin the block on that O-line. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about right there. I forget his name off the top of my head. And again, remember, the portal hasn't even officially opened. What are some of the players that you guys think could potentially hit the portal for us? And think outside the box, like guys that maybe we don't want to hit the portal, but you could see it. What are some of those guys for you guys? I think I just named a bunch of guys, but some of you guys might have some different ideas. I think we can't be naive to think that Florida State won't have any guys hit the portal, right? That's gonna happen, right? So let's just get that out the way, like it's gonna happen. AJ Duffy's possible. I won't disagree with you, no squad. Again, I would hate to see it because I think AJ Duffy, I think AJ Duffy can be the starter once Travis leaves, and should be in line to be the starter when Travis leaves. But I get it, especially with Kenny Dillingham. Even though I think Kelly Dillingham just got his quarterback, I think Luke Altmaier hit the portal last night. He probably goes to Arizona State with Kenny. Shout out to Kenny, head coach. It's crazy. Man went from Florida State to Oregon to now he's a head football coach. His trajectory that was cool to see. But yeah, I guess maybe one of the quarterbacks. I still think we keep all our quarterbacks, but I don't disagree. You could see a quarterback hit. I hope not again, but okay. Well, Helton's not hitting the portal loading because Helton is a senior. He doesn't have any eligibility left. Helton's just about to graduate. No portal for him. He's just gone. Sydney. I could see Sydney leaving only if McCall stays. Because if McCall doesn't stay, Sydney's probably going to be starting next to Shaheen next year. Right? Unless they add somebody in the portal. But if McCall leaves, I don't think Sydney leaves. If McCall stays, then and if McCall's able to outperform Sydney, then that's possible. That's possible. I don't think Brock jumps over Duffy initially either. I could see Dix leaving. Yeah, I forgot about Dix, and I don't even think that's a surprise. That's another guy that they just might have, they might just be recruiting over a Steven Dix. But we'll see how he bounces back from his injury and what he decides to do. I'm scaring you, man. Don't be scared. It's inevitable, right? It's inevitable. Do you think to do what? No offense to Jeff, but what to play quarterback? I'll pass. I covered Darian Williamson already. I definitely think he's a possible portal guy. Sydney's a linebacker. Is he really a linebacker, or is the guy that they're trying to convert? Is there a guy that they're trying to convert to linebacker? Is it fair to assume the team will be? They should be. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. No reason why you shouldn't be. That doesn't make. It doesn't necessarily mean you have a better record or you go like 11-1 or something crazy. But there's no reason to think that the team shouldn't be further along. But I actually think if you actually look at the schedule as it stands right now, FSU's got a lot of good home games that they should have a pretty damn good record next year too. No, I agree. I don't think Duffy should leave or will leave, but I do understand. If there's one position that I've always kind of never had a problem with hitting the portal, some of these positions you go, man, like running backs. Why are you hitting the portal as a running back? But as a running back, and FSU's running back room is loaded, I do understand that. But for the most part, some of these positions like your receiver and running back, there's enough to go around. But the one position that I've always thought I have no issue with hitting the portal has always been quarterback, because there can only be one quarterback. Again, I don't think Duffy leaves, nor should he. But I understand people that might be a little worried that we lose a quarterback. Do I think we go after the Alabama O-lineman? The Oregon wide receiver, I think there's some legit smoke there, Robert. Haven't heard anything on the Alabama offensive lineman. If there's one thing I know about Alex Atkins, check his track record since he's been at Florida State. He's picky with his O-lineman. He's just not going to go after the first O-lineman that hits the portal. He's picky. Atkins is going to bring in a certain kind of offensive lineman, as you'll see. So we probably won't get answers about O-linemen anytime soon, as the portal, again, hasn't even officially kicked off. Monday is when it officially opens. But Atkins is going to vet his O-lineman properly. But I think there's some legit smoke with that Oregon wide receiver. I'm saying the schedule sets up pretty nice next year, especially our home schedule. It could definitely be Rodemaker, you know? It could definitely be Tate. Do we finally beat Clemson next time? I mean, eventually we're going to have to get over that hump, right? There's a chance we play Clemson twice next year. Regular season and transfer portal. Regular season and ACC championship. So we're going to have opportunities. And eventually you got to climb that mountain. And if some of the guys that are being rumored to return actually return, I don't see why you couldn't beat Clemson next year. I'm almost positive DJ will not be the Clemson quarterback next year. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think that Klubnik kid is all that myself. So Clemson is going to be beatable. We beat Clemson and Clemson. Bruh, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think Mike would do that. I don't know if Mike has that in him. Oh, shit. Almost spilled my drink. But I'm excited for this portal stuff. I'm excited to see who we play in the bowl. I'm excited for this recruiting. We should finish. I think we should finish pretty decent here in recruiting. There's a lot of positive momentum for us. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Thank you, Chad. Thank you. It's one of those things where this offseason is going to really, really tell you the trajectory of this program and what this team could be. We're starting to develop the depth necessary. You could argue we beat ourselves the last two Clemson games. As a matter of fact, not this year's Clemson game, but the last year where not only did Jermaine try to single-handedly win the game for you, how many field goals did Clemson miss that game? Like, Clemson was trying to give us that game 2 years ago. We couldn't take it. You feel me? Well, Shipley will be gone. I'm almost positive Shipley will be gone. I don't think DJ is the quarterback next year. I don't know who their receivers are. Like, Clemson's going to have questions. They're also going to recruit fairly well. And one thing about Dabo is he doesn't hit the portal. So we'll see if Dabo breaks his portal stuff this year. I don't understand why Dabo's so against the transfer portal. If you check Clemson, they have not hit the portal, and I think it's been to their detriment. This is going to be a whole off season, man. And some of these teams are going to flip the script. Some of them are going to get worse, and some of them are going to get better. Who do you think we flip in recruiting rankings? That's tough. I would actually have to see who we're still pursuing. Right? So somebody that's involved in that or has some knowledge of that, like a Norvell Central, for instance, if he's still listening, he could tell you who we potentially could flip. My biggest flip, I want Baxter. If we can get Baxter, I don't care. I don't really care about anything else. Now, I say that, but I also want Hall. So if we can get Baxter and Hall, I don't care about nothing else. If we can somehow pull off Cedric Baxter and Jordan Hall, that's a successful close in my book. I think Hall's a pipe dream. However, if they can secure that last official visit, which is still open. So just some background on Jordan Hall from what I've read. He has 2 official visits set up in the month of December, Georgia and Florida. But his last visit of the month, which most people will tell you, is the most important visit because it's the last team that usually gets the team that usually gets the last visit
usually has the up and up on recruiting. That last one is still open. OSU, from all accounts, is out of it. So I don't know. He released the top 5, and I don't remember all the teams that were in his top 5. And FSU wasn't included in his top 5, by the way. But he canceled his Ohio State official visit to come to Florida State for the Florida game. If we can get him in that visit, I like where that's trending. Doesn't mean we'll get him, but I like where it's trending. But yeah, to answer the question, Will, if we can just flip Baxter, I'll be ecstatic. We could. All y'all want a kicker. I don't blame y'all for wanting a kicker. I would say we don't necessarily need, but I don't think you pass up big time talent, especially if it's interested in you. Like, I don't know if you pass up a 6'5" wide receiver who was like a top 50 player coming out of high school. You feel me? I won't say Thornton's a need, but you don't pass him up if he has legitimate interest in you. If 13 through 10 loses their conference championship game, then shouldn't we end up in the top 10 this coming Sunday? It'd be interesting to see how rankings fall. What's up, Stroking the Flame? I don't know if we're really recruiting any of Miami players, man, if I'm being honest with you. I can't think of any of the Miami players that we're recruiting that they have currently committed. I know we're in some recruiting battles with some Miami targets, like the DB. I think his name's Damari Brown or something like that, and of course Ruben Bain, who I don't think is going to happen. I think he's going to end up at Miami. He's a legacy kid there. I think Edwin Joseph is another guy that I think both schools are recruiting. I don't know if we're recruiting anybody that's currently committed to them, though. Yeah, I think I'm less worried about POLK with Hugh Freeze hire. I don't know that relationship, obviously. But the college football world doesn't seem to be so happy with the Hugh Freeze hire. From a football standpoint, I think it's a solid hire for Auburn. I really do, because we know what Hugh Freeze can do. But Hugh Freeze comes with a ton of baggage that if I'm a parent, I don't know if I send my kid to Auburn to, in 3 or 4 years, have sanctioned. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. I think POLK, I'm less worried about POLK with Hugh Freeze at the helm than I am if it would have been Lane Kiffin. But again, I don't know. He may have changed his ways. You never know, right? I don't think anything happened with him. I know he was on campus. A guy like Braun, he's probably just not in a rush to make a decision. He's probably going to get some more visits. Yeah, the portal doesn't officially open till next Monday. Yeah. Need a new kicker and backup quarterback in case JT comes back because Tate is not the guy. Hugh Freeze's record was really bad outside of 1 year, right? Where at Liberty? You talking about at Liberty, or are you talking about at Ole Miss? Ole Miss, he was a recruiting monster at Ole Miss. I'm not gonna lie to you. And at Liberty, no, I think at Liberty, I know they went 8-4 this year. I think last year they only lost like 1 game or something like that. He was pretty good at Liberty too. What's up, Insane? I don't think we need to, unless Travis leaves. Ole Miss. No, I think he had a couple decent years there. I'm pretty sure he beat Bama while he was there. I think he had a couple decent years. I have to go back to look. Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. I heard Jordan Hall commit on the weekend of December. I know he commits in December, and I know he still has one official visit spot left. Whether or not that's going to be Florida State, some speculate he might not even schedule a last official visit, and this might just be a Florida-Georgia battle. He is a Jacksonville kid, so you can kind of understand that. I think Florida, if you're Florida State, you got to do everything to try to get that last visit, though. He beat Bama twice. There you go. Yeah, Hugh Freeze has a resume. Good and bad, though. Good and bad. Good and bad. Luke Fickell took the Wisconsin job, which I don't know if that's a good move for him. He should have stayed at Cincinnati till some other job opened up, but Wisconsin probably threw some money at him that he couldn't turn down, and Cincinnati couldn't match. So I think Cincinnati jobs open, Colorado jobs open, which apparently Dion is in discussion with. USF jobs open. The FAU job is open. I do agree that Nebraska made a good hire. I think Matt Rule fits there more so than he would fit anywhere else. Arizona State made an interesting hire. I don't know if Kenny Dillingham's kind of ready to be a head coach, but shout out to Kenny for getting the opportunity. Oh, no, he absolutely did good at Ole Miss in terms of recruiting. He had A.J. Brown. He had Metcalf. He had Laramie Tunzel. He had Kandichi. He recruited some dogs out there at Ole Miss for sure. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. Jermaine, yes, absolutely. You're not off base there. Jermaine was better than Verse. It is better than Verse. Absolutely. You probably don't find out who's leaving to the pros. You probably won't find that out till after the bowl game. I don't think any FSU player is in a position to like skip the bowl game. Even like a Jared Verse, who everybody is high on. Some people think he's a first rounder. I do not. But even a guy like Verse, he would probably need that bowl game and some tape in that bowl game. So you probably don't find out who's leaving for the pros until after that game. Well, Freeze did more than just pay players, Priscilla. He was using, and you can go look this up, right? I'm not making this up, but he was using the school phone or whatever phone he was using, his recruiting phone or something like that, to call prostitutes and stuff. So Hugh Freeze did a little more than just pay players. He did a little more than just pay players. Shout out to Hugh Freeze. Right, there you go. Tyler beat me to it. He did more than just pay players. You need a mix of both. I don't think one answers. I don't think one answer is the answer. I think you need a mix of both. You need good recruiters, and you also need coach who can develop. But I always say this about development. I use the race car analogy when we talk about developing players, right? You can put Jeff Gordon behind a Honda Civic all you want, or Richard Petty, or whoever you think Dale Earnhardt, whoever you think the greatest driver is of all time. You can put him behind the Honda Civic, and he ain't gonna beat no Ferrari in a race. It just ain't gonna happen. And I feel the same way about development of players. We always like to talk about the 3 stars and develop them. Bro, it's a lot easier to develop blue chips than it is to develop, the 1,000th ranked player in the nation. Obviously, you can find gems, don't get me wrong. but you need thoroughbreds as well. Right. Who hasn't hired hookers? I can't speak for anybody else. I've never hired a hooker, Boxing Monster. Ricky Bobby the GOAT. Right, you could be Ricky Bobby, you could be whoever you want, right? But a Honda ain't beating a Ferrari, you know. A Nissan ain't beating a Lambo, and we can go on and on, right? Yeah, he did. He did. That's what I'm saying. It was much more than just paying players going on at Ole Miss. Again, which that stuff is why I don't know Falk and I don't know his parents, but I would tend to think I'm a little less worried about Falk flipping to Auburn with that hire. Not sure how many parents would allow their kids to go there, but we're in a crazy world. And to this day, I still don't understand, not to bring race into the conversation, but I'm gonna call it like I call it because I always do. I still don't understand how black parents allow their kids to play for Dabo Swinney with some of the stuff he's been caught saying on camera. So these parents don't necessarily care about a kid, about a coach's qualities or morals or ethics. Because if they did, some of these coaches wouldn't be pulling the kids that they get. You feel me? Now, you may be one of those people that agree with Dabo, some of the things he's said, and that's fine, but yeah, it is what it is. Camaros have beaten Ferraris. Okay. A souped up Camaro or a stock Camaro? And that's true too. Example, Mario, good recruiter, terrible coach. Should we look for some new receivers because of how much? No, I think you can develop what you got. Again, legit talent comes your way. You don't turn it down. Like I said, if Dante Thornton wants to come to Florida State, there's no way you turn that down. You sign him. But, and this is not a knock on Deuce Spann, but I don't think you're in a position where you have to take a flyer on a Deuce Spann this year. Right? Bingo. I don't think you're in a position where you don't have to take a flyer on a Deuce Spann, who I think we all knew when we got him, right? He was a project. You don't have to take a flyer on that. Now you can kind of go for something legit. Do you think there's any smoke to Willie Taggart as the OC at the Uncle Luke said it. I hope so. I would be ecstatic to see that. That would be, man, you talk about hilarious. Let Miami hire Willie Taggart. Oh my God. Does Jeff Sims want to play wideout though? Or does Jeff Sims want to be a quarterback? And again, to me, that's taking a flyer, right? To me, I don't think you need to take the Jeff Sims and then try to convince him to. I don't think you need to take a Jeff Sims and then say, let me convince you to be a receiver. For what? You don't need to do that. That's a waste of a scholarship. I mean, that's what Deuce Spann is. Again, no offense to Deuce Spann, who I like and I have a lot of high hopes for, but that's a converted quarterback who they're trying to make a receiver right now. So I've always felt like Deuce Spann was a project. I know he's big and I know he's fast, but he has to learn the position. He has to learn how to be a receiver, right? I don't think you waste a scholarship on Jeff Sims to be a receiver. Get me a legit receiver, or don't even get me a legit receiver, or don't even waste your time. Divine Abundance and Healing, I think you're in the wrong chat. But good luck to you. You're definitely in the wrong chat. OG Mike played receiver, and Duke played receiver for FSU during the golden era. Receivers is one group that should be developing at an alarming rate. No way I'd want I don't get it either, Chad. But again, Willie to UM would be it would be insane. The internet would explode. The internet would explode if that happened. Internet would absolutely go nuclear if Mario Cristobal hired Willie. Now, the only positive I see out of that, one, don't make him your OC. Matter of fact, I don't even think you give Willie an on-field coaching job. What you could try to do is hire Willie to be like involved in your recruiting. The Mario Willie Taggart tandem at Oregon was a pretty effective recruiting tool for 1 year they were together. I think that is what you could do, or that could be your thought process if you're Mario Cristobal. But once you start talking about making him an on-field coach, well, I kind of question your vision. If you're Mario Cristobal, I kind of question your vision there with hiring him to be an on-field coach. But yeah, like an analyst or something, and use him on the recruiting trail or something like that, I think you could definitely do. And I wouldn't necessarily think that'd be a bad move. The question is, would Willie want to then work for the guy who was once working for him? It'd be an interesting development. I don't think when Mike Norvell took the job, Brandon, I don't know if Sims had a lot of options. I'm not sure Sims had a lot of options. Remember, he was committed to Florida State for a while. Norvell takes that job, and I'm not sure, Norvell pretty much told him, hey, you can come, but I got my own guys, and it's going to be a competition. You're not going to come in here and just be named the guy. I'm bringing in my own two guys. I don't think Sims had much options after that, so he probably just went with Georgia Tech. But yeah, man, the portal's jumping. A lot of speculation. The coaching carousel's kind of just getting started. I'm interested to see where the first major domino falls there. I don't really think so last year's was insane, right? Lincoln Riley fell, and then it's like every domino started to fall. Once Lincoln Riley hit, then you got Venables to Oklahoma, Brian Kelly leaves for LSU, Notre Dame's job's open and they hire free. I don't know if we see that this year. I can't think of a job, where that happens. But the coaching carousel is kind of just getting started as well. Most of the jobs that have opened up have kind of been lower tier jobs. Like FAU's open. That's an interesting job for up and coming coaches. Who does Dan Lanning hire to replace Kenny Dillingham at Oregon? That could be interesting. Things like that, but I don't think any major, Nebraska's job is filled. That probably was the biggest job. Auburn's job is filled. That was the biggest job, and that's filled. And they went and got Hugh Freeze, so it's not like they poached another Power 5 team. Let Miami fans tell it they're getting every top prospect out of the portal. Well, guess what? Their offseason is already started, so they might want to get to work if that's the case. Get to work, Miami. Well, I'm glad the divisions are gone just for the fact of the Coastal was so garbage for pretty much the entire time the ACC was split. The Coastal was by far the weakest of the two divisions, and a lot of times throughout for a majority of the time, Florida State and Clemson determined the winner of the ACC, right? Whoever won that game was the winner of the ACC. I mean, when we won the ACC, who did we have to beat? We beat Georgia Tech like twice and Duke one year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we played Virginia Tech in another year. Like, we didn't have to beat, the Coastal was just garbage. And now you're actually going to see the best two teams in the ACC play for it year after year. That's what I like about it. That's what I like about it. Cincinnati job could be an interesting job. Colorado is interesting. Colorado, that's another. You make a great comparison. Colorado is another team like Nebraska where, yeah, they were good in the early '90s and stuff, but it's Colorado, right? Well, when they made the move, that was the move. The move was definitely to have Miami. The move when they made the move with Virginia Tech and they brought all those guys from the Big East, thought process was Florida State, Miami playing twice a year. That would really put the ACC on the map. Both teams went through a down stretch when the ACC kind of first jumped off in that format. Florida State got theirs together, and were able to win a natty and win some ACC championships. Miami never got their act together. What is Miami only played in the game once or twice? So if Nick Saban retires, yeah, that would send shockwaves through college football, and that would be a crazy domino. I don't see it happening this year, though. Yeah, as of right now, the wide receiver out of Oregon is the one guy that I'm really looking at and interested in. Some of these guys. There's also a linebacker out of Texas A&M that hit the portal. Who he has 3 years of eligibility. I'd be interested to see if we're interested in him. I like his dimensions. He's like 6'2", 6'3", about 215. So he's long, has a frame that you could add another 15 or so pounds. I'd be interested in him. I forget his name. But again, majority of the guys haven't even hit the portal yet. But that's just some early guys that I'm paying attention to. There's a ton of FCS guys but I'm not too informed on the FCS guys in the portal. I can't make an educated guess on any of those guys. Because I just didn't watch them play. I did hear that too. I heard a lot of off-field staff might go, which is I'd be interested to see who. I think Dilly can do us a favor and take Charles Woodson with him and Chris Thompson, which means Mike don't have to fire him. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if anybody from Florida State goes with Kenny Dillingham over there to Arizona State. Bro, they couldn't get to the ACC championship game in the Coastal. Think about it. In the time Miami's been in the ACC, Duke has been a more successful program. Georgia Tech has even been a more successful program. You understand how crazy that is to even say that? Duke and Georgia Tech have been more successful programs than Miami since they've been in the ACC. They played in more ACC championship games. Yeah, you stay open. I guess that's the name of the linebacker. Any guys FSU lose to the portal on it? Yeah, Clifford. I talked about that kind of early on in the stream. I do think there's some guys you can expect. Um, I'm not sure. Again, all speculation. But I named a few guys that you could probably expect. Um, Hold on, let me wash my hands. What are some guys I threw out there? I threw out the Toll Phillies of the world, guys like that. Again, not saying that I expect it or want it, but I could understand it. Go check out the beginning of the stream where I kind of went into my thought process on why I said some of those guys. Yeah, I think Travis comes back personally. I see Jeff Sim goes to Miami to be the quarterback. Joe, do you think Jeff Sims will go to Miami to be the quarterback? Like, is that the great offseason move? And of all the players that's hitting the portal, Jeff Sims is the guy that they're going to choose to be the quarterback. Seems very Mario Cristobal-ish. Yeah, man, I had to pee. Uh, I know they got him. I think Miami's got him for 10 years. 10 years, 80 mil or something like that. Um, yeah, I saw one of the DBs from Alabama hit. They like they're just there's guys, man. There's going to be a bunch more. There's going to be a bunch more. Yeah, I saw him too. I would like to spin the block. There's some guys, man. There's some guys that you can spin the block on for sure. I also think you have to play the portal intelligently. Don't There's no need to rush it, right? There's no need to rush it. Again, the portal even hasn't even officially opened. Like, it hasn't even officially opened. I think next week this time is going to be absolutely insane, and there might be some intriguing guys, but this time next week, man, we could be talking about some crazy stuff. If you're Mike and crew, uh, and if you're interested in some guys, by all means, reach out, keep them warm. But I wouldn't make any decisions until you really get into the heat of this thing, because there's gonna be some players, man, and there's no need to jump out there. Um, there's no need to jump out there. That man's not going anywhere. Is that the DB you're talking about? I think the regular. Well, no, I don't think it should last longer. I think it's going to be longer with this 12 or 18 playoff when that comes into effect. Obviously, it will last longer then. But there's no, football is one of those things. I don't necessarily think you need to add games. But yeah, man, hit the like button, guys. Just want to do a little midday checkup. I see just a lot of action, and I said, well, I'm at work today. Kind of a slow day today. Um, Why not reach out and talk about it? And again, our season is not over, man. We got to figure out what bowl game we're going to. But I think we get a decent bowl game against a decent team. So we'll have one more game. And yeah, man. When does the portal? The portal actually starts next week, next Monday. It was the first official day of the transfer portal. Early signing day, I think, is December 21st or something like that. Like last year, December 11th was the first day of the early signing period. They pushed it back to like late December. So yeah, the month of December is. I want Texas too, Ryan. I'm with you. I want Texas. I just think that's a fun matchup. That's a premier matchup. There's two premier programs that have never played, so that would be exciting. It would be highly watched, great exposure. Yeah, I would love to see Texas FSU. I would love to see that game. I wouldn't mind Oregon, try to get some payback. But I would love the Texas one. If we can get Texas, that would be dope. That would be dope. UCLA, Oregon, or Penn State. Out of all of those, Oregon is the only one I would care about playing. I don't really care about the other two, if I'm being honest. Probably, even though I am interested in Michigan and Georgia. Actually, if USC's in there, I'm interested in USC versus Michigan or USC versus Georgia. TCU, I think they deserve to be in there, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't be excited to watch TCU versus anybody. Right? I wouldn't be excited to see TCU versus anybody. I would be excited. But those other three matchups would be cool to watch. They about to send us to San Diego. I hope not. Oh my God. John says, Kane still living in y'all heads rent free. Y'all are just 2 years ahead of us. Remember when Norvell had his one-on-one with Marvin? Enjoy it while you can. Yeah, I remember in a COVID year when all of that happened. Absolutely. Different circumstances, John. I'm really tired of explaining it. Put it like this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it again. You can lie to the people. You can claim this was a rebuild. You didn't hire an $8 million coach to rebuild your program. You hired Mario $8 million to come in here and win first year. That's a fact. It wasn't a rebuild 2 months ago. We have receipts of all you Miami fans. It wasn't a rebuild. You know it. I know it. It wasn't a rebuild 2 months ago. You found out you suck. Your coach sucks. And you said, oh, no, he needs his players. But the TCU coach, Sonny Dykes, just made the playoff with none of his players. It's crazy. Brian Kelly just brought LSU to 9 wins with none of his players. That's crazy. And the list can go on. Okay? So you can make the excuse for Mario. You can claim, oh, these are Manny Diaz's players and blase. But we all know the facts. You can look at the games. You're the only guys that need all these excuses. And I'll leave it at that. Good luck to you guys with your $8 million overpaid head coach. Hopefully he figures some stuff out. Whatever happened to Dustin? Bro, he doesn't exist, Clifford. He doesn't exist. Time to end the show. And the coaching staff sucked. Yeah, I am not clueless. I'm just stating anything everybody can see. I'm just stating the obvious. The Miami fans are the clueless ones. If you have a head coach and he has to have a specific type of player to win, I would argue that he ain't that good of a head coach. And again, we'll just leave it there. I'm not going to go back and forth with you today, John. We're in a bowl game. Focus on your off season. Dustin Hill is, oh God. Okay. And with that being said, guys, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Lunchtime is about over for me, and it's probably been over for some of y'all. So as always, stay classy, Seminoles. It's your boy Polk over here on 863 Seminole TV, and we at you. Go Noles. I'll see you guys tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow we'll do the proper show. We will try to get more in-depth on some portal targets, actually get some names and some rankings and some all of that good stuff, and actually look at some legit targets. I got to do some research and some homework on that. But everything I pretty much put out today was just spitballing off the top of the head. So we'll catch y'all, or I'll catch y'all next time, guys. Peace out.